Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, over at the hostel that I'm staying at, I have one roommate who's a little bit of a hoarder. Fortunately, he didn't get as bad as another roommate that I had in my past, but it brought back some colorful memories. You know, sometimes time allows memories to become a little bit better than when I was experiencing them. It was late 2021. I had just moved back to Seattle during the quarantine. I lived in the countryside for a little bit. I moved into a house in Mercer Island, and the owner, his wife was away on some kind of work assignment, and they lived separately. I mean, he did go visit her back home from time to time. I later learned, he was bisexual and had inappropriate feelings. That actually didn't bother me nearly as much as the hoarding did. I moved in, and my first day there, I realized there was a lot of stuff there. He gave the excuse that his former roommate had just moved out days earlier, and I even offered to help him move his stuff out, and I really wanted to help him. And the reason for that is that I have chemical sensitivities, and the amount of dust in that house, because of all the stuff that was harboring the dust, was just a little bit not the best thing in the world to be breathing, right? And as I started to think about how to move his stuff, I realized he had a dungeon full of crap. And I pressed him a little bit more, and I said, "Gee, is your roommate coming back? Maybe I could help. Do you know where his new place is?" I kind of pressed him a little bit. And then I did some research online to see if your old roommate doesn't move his stuff out, can you legally dispose of it? I think in Washington State you have to wait a certain number of days. I can't remember if it was 2 weeks or 4 weeks, something in that neighborhood. It wasn't forever for sure. And so I started to press him a little bit on when his roommate moved out, and we discovered that, or at least he was claiming that he was vague on the day, and I was like, well, was it before or after Halloween? Right? I started pressing him a little bit. I discovered that, according to what he was saying, it was at least 2 months, and I'm like, gee, I think we can toss this out legally. And trying to be helpful, I offered my car. I even cleaned out a space in the car to help him. And as I started thinking about how to pack things, he started crying like a baby. This is a middle-aged man who's married, and his wife is on assignment in another part of the country. And he's crying like a baby, like what these things mean to him. And now he fesses up that these things don't even belong to an old roommate and all that. He had gone away to his wife, and I didn't have the heart to throw his stuff out. I really could have, but I really wanted to make sure, because while I was cleaning his home, he had a lot of really old fluorescent light bulbs that were in terrible condition. I was worried that some of them might break. Those things have mercury in them. I'm very sensitive to mercury. I am autistic, and I really need to watch my mercury intake, whether it be broken fluorescent lights or fish or other sources, right? And I really wanted to make sure, check out the whole house to make sure there weren't any unexpected broken light bulbs. He left and he locked his door, and I figured that he must have a spare key somewhere. So I made a ruse to get him to tell me where the spare key was. What had happened was I called him while he was away with his wife, and with the computer on, I looked up the sound of a smoke alarm so that I could claim that the smoke alarm was going off in his room. I played it. Ba ba ba. Hey, Mr. Landlord, it looks like something in your room. The smoke alarm is going off. Ba 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 ba. And it turned out he didn't have a key, but he remembered that the balcony behind his uh, room door wasn't locked and told me I could get in through there. And I went in. I vacuumed up his place a little bit and threw out some of the garbage at least, right? He had bags and bags of old tissue paper and newspaper and all that. And I told him that, I cleaned out your room while I was in there, get some brownie points and at the same time make myself a little bit at peace too. And long story short, he came back from seeing his wife in Missouri, and the first thing he does is to bring home 2 shopping bags full of old crap. I don't even know where he got it from, and so my heart just sank. My heart just sank, and he says that they're for a gift for a family. Yeah, old crap like that. He literally probably bought at Goodwill at best, if not if picked up from a dumpster, and he cried like a baby when I wanted to throw out an old broken set of speakers. And so it's funny now looking back at it. At the time, it was really frustrating because I was just starting work at a different job, and I really didn't want this drama. Fortunately, the roommate at the hostel, he's just hoarding papers and doesn't keep very good organization. And he would sit down at the kitchen table and papers would spread everywhere. And I could live with that, right? But it reminded me of that old roommate. I probably even recorded a bunch of videos while it was ongoing. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.